Okay, so what is ADHD? And if you're a teacher, you're probably very familiar with the term ADHD. If you're not, it means attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. They have in the past used the term attention deficit disorder when speaking of people who were not hyperactive. And then they discovered that even if you were not physically hyperactive, so the kids that are jumping around, can't sit still, can't stop talking, they were mentally hyperactivity, which means the brain was just racing all the time. So they discontinued the ADD, and now it is just ADHD. This was actually my second diagnosis when I was working at a doctor's office. It's one of those, here's your sign. But anyhow, so ADHD. Again, the Oxford definition of ADHD, also attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADD, again, they're not using that anymore, is a condition usually beginning in childhood that makes it difficult for somebody to pay attention and concentrate, may make it difficult for them to control their behavior. If you've been a teacher for 10 years, 10 minutes, most likely you have seen this in the classroom. So what is ADHD? So a real life definition of ADHD typically is thought of extra energy, lack of attention. It is actually a disconnect between the knowing part of your brain and the doing part of your brain. And I have a little note in here about my emails. So as an example, so emails, I know I get emails. I know they're important. I know I should read them. I know I should respond to them. I know I should do what the emails are telling me to do. I know all that. The problem is my brain does not do it. So I know I need to read the email. I know I need to respond or do whatever the email says. But my brain says, nope, we're not doing that. And I don't do it. I work with some very wonderful coworkers, Mrs. Regal from Wilson, who has learned from experience, I think, because I never actually told her this, but she picked up on it, that when there is an email that's important that I need to actually read and do on that day, she will stop in and remind me, or she'll catch me in the hallway, or she might send me a text. She does not send me an email and say, read the email, because, you know, that doesn't really work. But anyhow, and Mrs. Williams from Lamberton, again, she always makes sure that I know what I'm doing, when I'm doing, and if it's something that's out of the normal or difference in schedule, anything like that, she always makes sure, both of them always made sure that I knew what I was doing. They probably saved my job, definitely saved my ego, and I appreciate both of them very much for that. But yeah, so that is an example. I am a full-grown adult. I receive emails. It is part of my job. I know I need to do it. And it's just that doing part of the brain does not want to do it up until I actually need it. And then I panic because I don't remember where the email is or who sent it. That's a whole nother story. But anyhow, so ADHD, you know how to do it. You know you can do it. You know you have to do it, but you can't get that doing part of your brain to actually do it. And I have a video from Dr. Russell Barkley. You may have already watched it, or you may pause this and watch it, or you can watch it at the end. But I will refer a little bit to it. Really good video. I've watched it multiple times. One of my favorite quotes from Dr. Russell Barkley: people with ADHD know what to do, but they can't do what they know. And that is a pretty accurate definition, I guess I would say. Also, boys versus girls, it does look a little bit different. So in the boys, it's going to be more obvious. They tend to be more hyperactive. So these are the ones that can't sit still, don't stop talking, always making noise. Versus girls often tend to be less obvious. They more internalize it. So they have the racing brain versus the racing body. And girls are very capable of masking. And they do this as well in autism, which results in a lower diagnosis rate for girls versus boys because they hide. So what girls do is they look around and see what everyone else is doing, and then they copy that. And oftentimes they can get the right behavior for the right circumstances. And so they hide this disorder that they have, or the lack of the ability to do something, because of the fact they're mimicking other people. In ADHD, you would think commonly diagnosed, treated in elementary school, very common with boys, some common with girls, but often girls will be able to mask up until they get to the point where their childhood coping methods do not work anymore. And so it can be high school, and often it is all the way up until they're in the workforce field and realize they can't cope with what they need to do. So you will see differences, often see differences between boys and girls. So just to walk a mile in our shoes with ADHD. So stop and think of something you absolutely hate doing. You hate it so much you would literally do anything to avoid it. Probably different for every person. I know I see a lot of memes about laundry, like you do laundry and then you don't fold it, like you wash it and dry it, but you won't fold it or you won't put it away. I timed myself one time. It takes me exactly 7 days and 15 minutes to fold and put laundry away. It takes me 15 minutes to fold and put it away, and it takes me 7 days to procrastinate. So something like that, and something you really don't like to do, you would really do anything to avoid doing it. And then ask yourself, what are the reasons why you hate it? So if it's washing dishes, why do you hate washing dishes? I mean, I think everyone hates washing dishes, but are there reasons why you hate doing something? And then are there legitimate reasons? You just don't like it, or are there legitimate reasons why you always avoid this task or whatever it is? And that is the ADHD brain on anything and everything. It does not need a legitimate reason. Example, you need a pencil to do your math and your pencil's not sharpened, and you don't want to sharpen it because it is too much energy to raise your hand, ask if you can sharpen your pencil, then get up, go to the sharpener, sharpen your pencil, go back down. Now, a lot of ADHD, they want to sharpen their pencil 20 times a day because it is work avoiding. So it's not a super good example, but it's a very small example in sometimes you just don't do something because the first step to doing it is just too overwhelming and you don't want to do it. Doesn't matter if you hate it, if you like it, if you're indifferent to it, if it'll take you 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days, 2 months, you will avoid it and you will actively avoid it. So here's some examples. These are just some memes I found. So the one, I don't need a personal trainer as much as I need someone to follow me around and slap the unhealthy foods out of my hand. So with ADHD, so as an example here, like, oh, you want to eat healthy and exercise, and even you just think of someone that's going to start a diet. They know they want to start the diet. They know they have to. They know they want to. They know why they want to. They have all the good reasons, but it's just too hard to start. So maybe you're going to start and you'll be like, all right, I'm going to start on Monday. And then somebody invites you out on Monday. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to start on Tuesday. And then it's Taco Tuesday. And so you're like, you know what? Okay, so we're Wednesday, Thursday. We're just going to wait till the next week. And that is how ADHD is. You will always find something to give you a reason not to do what you need to do. Sometimes you do more work doing the things you're doing to avoid doing what you need to do. And then my favorite one is banana bread. So you buy bananas, you're planning to eat the bananas, you don't eat the bananas, they get brown, so now you're going to make banana bread, and then you just don't, and they just sit there. And then eventually it's too late. That's what ADHD. You have good intentions, bought some bananas, going to eat the bananas, then eat the bananas. Bananas, now you can't eat them. But so now you're going to make banana bread with them, and then you just don't get it done. It goes on and on and on. That is ADHD. And to go back to this, the doing part of your brain not working, you know what to do, you know what to do, you know how to do it, you know you need to do it, but you can't do it. So think of something like a devastating news that you've heard, or something you just pulled the rug right out of under your feet. So like sickness in the family, or something with a pet, or anything that you can think of. Maybe it's world news, anything like that. Something that has just been such a shock to your system that you just can't think, you can't function, you can't move, you're just sitting there and you can't do anything. And there's all these other things you need to do, but you just cannot. Your body and your brain will not allow you to do anything. Same thing with exhaustion. When you are just so utterly physically or mentally exhausted that you just want to sit on the couch and you don't want to do anything. That is ADHD every single day. You have to actively make your brain let your body do something. And it's just like being faced with these things pretty much every moment of your life. And so that is what these kids are going through when they come into school. They are fighting every single day. They are fighting against their brain to do what they need to do, what they know they need to do, and their brain just doesn't want to let them do it. And then we'll move on to Module 2.